Welcome to this week's St. Clair County Board of Commissioners meeting. The types of business that occur at these meetings include public hearings, official voting on actions by the Board of Commissioners, presentations by departments of the county, and recognition of service that makes our county great. As your elected representatives, the St. Clair County Board of Commissioners is committed to improving the lives of all our residents while preparing county government to meet the demands of the future. In order to do that, we need to share our thoughts and plans with you. More importantly, we need you to share your thoughts, concerns, and opinions with us. We encourage you to come and experience the process by attending any of these meetings. They occur every first and third Thursday of the month at 6 p.m. at the St. Clair County Administration Building at 200 Grand River Avenue in Port Huron.
I'd like to call this meeting of the St. Clair County Board of Commissioners Human Service Committee to order. Roll call, please.
Commissioner McConnell?
Here.
Commissioner Heidemann?
Here.
Commissioner Bohm?
Here.
Commissioner Dunn?
Here.
Commissioner Rushing?
Here.
Commissioner Graytop?
Here.
Commissioner Tamian?
Here. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First, we have a couple additions to tonight's agenda. There's a contract approval request for the Council on Aging and a contract approval request for the Sanborn Gratiot Memorial Home.
I'll make a motion to take 2A and 2B and make that to 7F and 7G.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I move the approval of agenda as amended.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Now is the scheduled time for any citizens that would like to address the Human Services Committee to come forward. I don't have any slips from anybody. Is there anybody that wants to speak? See lots of smiles, but no hands up. Okay. Next on our agenda are updates. Are there any updates from the commission? Conceptual initiatives from the staff. I see no old business. Our first new business item is a contract approval for Lakeshore Legal Aid.
Motion to send it on to the full board. Support.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next, we have a similar request for the Visiting Nurses Association.
I move we send that on to the board for final action.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Third is a similar request for Blue Water Safe Horizons.
I'd move this to the full board.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The next contract approval, and all of these are falling under the Commission on Aging, is for the Catholic Charities of Southeastern Michigan.
I'd move that we send that to the full board.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The next one is a contract approval request for Cersei Dynex. Is that how I should pronounce it?
Move we send it to the full board.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Are there any other human services matters to
The
bring
two
in?
additions.
7F, 7G.
Oh, I forgot the two that we added on. Thank you.
I would move that we send the Council on Aging request to the full board.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 And now the Sanborn Gratiot Memorial Home.
I'd move that we move this to the full board.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I'd just like to make a comment, now that we've gone through, most of these have applied to the Commission on Aging. As you know, there's been a change in how that agency is administered. Jenny Posey has taken the lead for us, and one of the things that I've liked about the changes that we've made is we've come up with these contract templates with all of our agencies, which think it makes real clear who's responsible for what services and what those services are costing. So I think it's great work, Jenny. Thank you. Now, I'll ask again, are there any other human service matters to come before us this evening? For information only, we have the November 2018 Health Department points of interest.
Make a motion to receive and file.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
How about a motion to receive and file the packets?
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Chairman?
That's a lot of information you gave us. Thank you. I'd like to call the St. Clair County Board of Commissioners Judiciary and Public Safety Committee to order. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Tamian?
Here.
Commissioner Heidemann?
Here.
Commissioner Bohm?
Here.
Commissioner Dunn?
Here.
Commissioner Rushing?
Here.
Commissioner Greatop?
Here.
Commissioner McConnell?
Here. Thank you. Are there any additions, deletions, changes to the agenda?
Make a motion, we approve the agenda as presented.
Support. We have motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Are there any citizens wishing to be heard? Seeing none. Are there any updates? I'm going to throw one update in right here. I was going to put it under old business, but it's really not that old. We have our new, I'm going to call him an oversheriff tonight instead of an undersheriff, because the sheriff isn't here. Mr. Matt Paulus is returning. I think everybody probably remembers Matt. And how long have you been away from us?
22 months.
22 months. So Matt's our new undersheriff, started Monday, so he's right up to speed. He's got everything going. We're not going to miss a beat.
And I look forward to the opportunity. Like I said, I've already had a couple meetings already this week, so I'm not quite up to speed,
Right.
but I'm getting close there. And I appreciate the opportunity to serve again and the confidence that the sheriff has in me. So I'm looking forward to it.
We're glad to see you back, Matt.
Thanks.
Welcome back, Matt.
Welcome back.
Yeah, Greg, got one thing if you would.
Yes.
When we've been talking about like the Huff Road Bridge, Dan Lowers is working, and they're supposed to be coming up with something at the state level to assist in bridges throughout the state. And talked to Kurt Weston today, and potentially this is gonna really help out a lot of the bridges within Ark County and the state, but going forward with it. And just a lot of good work on everybody's part.
Good. Thank you. Is there any conceptual initiatives? There is no old business. Under new business, item 7A, fiscal year 19 Michigan Mental Health Court Grant Program, Blue Water DRP subcontract.
Chairman, I move that this be moved on to the full board.
Second. We have motion and support. Are there any questions? This is a contract not to exceed $40,339. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item B, the fiscal year Michigan Mental Health Court Grant Program, Community Mental Health Subcontract.
I'd make the motion to move this to the full board.
Second?
We have motion and support. Are there any questions? See none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Macomb County Juvenile Detention Agreement is a 3-year contract extension with no cost increases. We can get out of the contract at any time with a 30-day notice.
Make a motion, we send it to the full board.
Support.
We have motion and support to send to full board. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have a contract for East China Township Law Enforcement. It's a 2-year contract, has a 2% increase built in. Could we have a motion?
Make a motion, we send it on to the full board.
Support.
We have motion, support. Any questions? Commissioner Greatop.
This is, if I understand correctly now, we're going to catch up with East China on this one. They were in off years, and because they share services, this will be a 2-year. That'll put them on a par so that in 2 more years, they both expire at the same time.
Same time.
China. Just
Okay.
saying correctly.
There's an adjustment for fuel cost in there too, quarterly.
Correct. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have a contract approval request from Diamond Pharmacy Services for inmate pharmaceuticals.
I move that this contract be forwarded to the full board.
Second?
Are there any questions? We do have someone here that could talk to you about it if you have questions. This is just a cost savings program that has been initiated to, a couple years, you had ran old bills for a couple years to try to get an idea?
What we did, yeah, well, this is a project from purchasing over probably the last year and a half. We did apples for apples comparisons, sent our month's worth of our inventory, or I'm sorry, our invoices over to Diamond Pharmaceutical, compared their cost of this and cost back a savings, amortized out for annual savings. It was somewhere between $20,000 and $50,000 annually. What we did. They're also going to give us, as I believe the cover memo said, for no cost, an electronic medication administration record or MARC system, which will increase our efficiency.
Good, thank you. Yes, Commissioner.
Can I ask a question of Tom while you're up, Tom?
Yeah.
Just, how is the new, what do you call it, teleprompter system or whatever you have in the lobby of the sheriff's office?
Visitation system,
Whatever that's called.
it seems to be working well.
I mean, they pay with a credit card,
They set up an account.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's probably through the credit card.
and that is all up and running now and working good?
Been up and running. We've had some minor glitches here and there, which could be expected through anything new. But the remote system, I believe, which is the revenue generating end of it, is starting to pick up.
Can you also do that from another location other than in that lobby? Can you do it from home or anything?
Absolutely. You can do it from home. You can do it off a smartphone, do it off your iPad, your home computer, as long as you have camera access.
And we recognize that as a revenue source also, if it's off of that?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the in-lobby is free.
Yeah, there's no cost.
There's no cost for the ones that do it in the lobby.
All right,
It's only the remote that
Right.
they charge.
okay, good, thank you.
I'm not quite sure what we're talking about. Could you explain it a little bit more?
Bill went into the visitation, we couple back in September, I believe it was. Mid to late September, we moved from having visitation to glass, where we had to go through the process of vetting people into the facility, taking them back, escorting them, bringing them out, and so forth. We went to a video visitation, which is basically FaceTime, Skyping, all very, very similar to it. But you have the ability to do it from home. You can stand out here in the street corner if you'd like, and do that. So it affords a lot more accessibility to family and friends to visit with their loved ones, friends, family.
So you don't have to drive across the county
I
to...
didn't call it, and they can do it from anywhere in the country, and actually outside of the country. All they go through the system, secure us, get vetted, get an account set up. And so, and they schedule it, so it takes our staff out of the scheduling, and makes, one more thing out of my staff's hands, so they pay more attention to safety and security than trying to be a nursemaid and a registration person, if you will. So
Can
it's
you
working
still,
out.
can people still visit face-to-face if they want to? Or is that off the table?
No, that's off the table. We'll do it under special circumstances. Our trustees still get face-to-face.
Real FaceTime.
Contact visitation on Sunday. It's a perk for them to do some of the work that they do for us.
Good.
There was a small office, for lack of better words, what do you want to call it? It's a visiting room that's inside the old lobby, and you go in and you have your own little phone booth,
Yeah, that's for the ones that want to do it for free on site.
right, on
We
site,
have
so
the
you can just
ability to
walk
do that
in
5 days a
and,
week. Same schedule that we had before where they could come to the facility and visit. But the other one is 7 days a week, 365 days out of the year.
So the company contacts your administration, tells you that there's somebody that wants to have visitation with one of the inmates, and they...
It comes up on a screen, it's automatically scheduled. So it's there, we get a list every morning.
Oh, okay.
Beforehand, who's got a visit, so we pass it out in the pod so the deputies know as a reminder, they can remind somebody. But it's basically there, be an adult, you're responsible, somebody scheduled for your visit, you've been notified.
I'll add it to
Be
the
there.
next agenda.
Don't miss
so
it.
it's there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 7F, probate court agreement with Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. The motion that we need is to forward this to the regular board meeting the recommendation to approve the agreement with the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services for guardianship services in the amount of $50,437 for a term of 12/118 through 9/30/19 pursuant to administration's funding recommendations.
So move. Support.
What does this cost?
This is $50,437. And Carrie, can you help us with, this is going to be,
Sure, that would be for 9 months of the contract, so assuming that the program is successful and they renew it, the annual cost is actually $67,250. These court-appointed attorney costs have been increasing over the past several years, so as part of the proposed 19 budget, Danielle had already increased their budget by about $50,000. But this proposal right here would require an additional $20,420, and administration is proposing that comes from the board's contingency next year.
Thank you.
are there any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Are there any other judiciary public safety matters at this time? Seeing none, motion to receive and file.
So moved.
We have motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion
Motion
to adjourn.
carries.
Support.
Motion support. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
I'd like to call the St. Clair County Board of Commissioners Environmental and Public Works Committee meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you take the roll?
Commissioner McConnell,
Here.
Commissioner Tamian,
Here.
Commissioner Bone,
Here.
Commissioner
guys.
Dunn,
Here.
Commissioner Rushing,
Present.
Commissioner Greatop.
Here.
Commissioner Heidemann.
Here. Any addition, deletions, or changes to the agenda? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
It's been moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Any citizens wishing to address the board regarding environmental public works? Seeing none, we'll move on to updates from commissioners. Any commissioners with updates regarding these issues? Seeing none, any conceptual initiatives from administration? None? No old business? We'll move on to new business. The first one is the appointment of road commissioners and Department of Public Works appointments. We have 2 members.
I make a motion, we send both names on to the full board.
Support.
It has been moved and supported to move the names on the full board. All in
Yeah, and what
favor?
we'll end up doing, Howard, just by ballot next Thursday. Just have some ballots maybe.
Oh, next Thursday.
Yeah, vote.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. We will send those on to the full board. Next is from Coran Recycling LTD, landfill account balance write-off.
I'd make a motion to move this to the full board.
Any discussion?
Well, we have him here. Could he explain why we have a write-off?
Somebody didn't pay their
No, it's
bill.
uncollectible, but other than the obvious.
Good evening, everyone. Kern Recycling operates out of Sarnia. They are our longest Canadian customer, longest tenured Canadian customer. And as you know, each of those rates are individually negotiated with each customer over there, different from the inside the county rates. We actually have the highest, since they're close, we're actually to get a better tipping fee from them than anyone else. For lack of a better way to present it, the ownership structure at Kern is quite old school. They insist on paying with the check, old school. They insist on paying with the check, and they insist on mailing it on a certain time after they get their invoice. The problem with, as noted in the memo, is that the time it's taken to process the check, to get it exchanged, the finances will accrue. What I will let you know is that Curran pays extremely regular every month. We never have an issue with them pushing stuff off or having to chase them to get them to pay the bill. It's simply administratively, it takes 2 to 3 weeks. Historically, it has for us to get that money exchanged and then booked in the system, for lack of a better way.
Converted into U.S. currency.
Canadian to U.S. currency, that's correct. Recently, we've got the Treasurer's Office has implemented some new procedures where we're going to make that happen here locally as opposed to shipping it off to Bank of America at another part of the country, so that we'll have that money in-house much quicker now.
So I have another question. Same rate,
Yeah,
spot rate?
correct.
Just an obvious question. Why for 4 years have we been charging them this and it's now being addressed?
I don't have a good answer for you.
Understand, so.
Okay, no other questions for Matt? Seeing none, we'll move this on to the full board. We've had a motion,
In
and
support.
it's been seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. We'll move that on. Thank you, Matt. Next on the agenda is our contract approval with CTI and Associates.
I'm going to have Matt just talk about this for a little bit. Just up the,
You want a motion to send it full board?
well, not, let's just, I'm going to hear the schmeal.
CTI and Associates has been contracted by St. Clair County to support the landfill for engineering, compliance, and other services. I believe since 2001 it's been. It's been a long relationship. In 04-05, the idea of the septic bioreactor blossomed between the former landfill manager and some smart people at CTI. This board heard those ideas and decided to proceed with that project. CTI has been very instrumental in making all of that happen. They've provided all the brain power. And then over the years, it's actually, a lot of it's been their initiative to get us into the Clean Water Revolving Loan Fund program with the state of Michigan to further improvements and expansion of landfill facilities. They've been very instrumental in saving us a lot of money and getting the bioreactor program up and running and successfully operating. As a general rule, they provide very capable and very excellent support services. We've got a good, long-standing relationship, and I would recommend that we re-up with them for another master services agreement.
I'd make the motion for the contract approval for request for CTI and Associates and require Morgan to buy us dinner and drinks this evening.
Support. It's been moved
You can
and
leave the second
supported.
part out, Morgan.
Any questions for, any other questions for Matt?
I would just like to kind of
Right, Tom?
reiterate what Matt just said. We had the opportunity, you and I, to go to Washington, and they sent their crew out there, and Matt and you and I went out there, and we bargained for what we needed to, and it took some time, but we got it done, and I was truly impressed with how the whole system worked, and a big part of it goes to CTI, so.
You're not talking about Washington working, are you?
You and I were working in Washington.
Yeah, they,
Right.
yeah.
Washington was,
They-
you and I were working
Yeah,
in Washington.
they sure dropped the ball
anomaly.
on it for us.
How long have you been on the board? 16 years. I know, Morgan, you've been there the entire time. I've been here for 14. Were they the engineer back when you were on the board then? When you first started, Howard?
Yeah.
How long have you been with us, Morgan?
I came in 2004.
Morgan, why don't you go up there with Matt?
No, it was kind of interesting because actually one of the first meetings that I sat in on before I was elected but wasn't appointed to the board yet was the whole bioreactor conversation. You know, we hadn't got there. You know, we were continuing to work on that to sort of see that when it was all, you know, stuff on, you know, pictures on paper to where it's at been today to fruition.
Was that the contract you voted no on, the budget?
No, that was a different one. Yeah. Sorry, Mark.
I don't know about Bill, but what was so disappointing is Bill and I went down there. I thought we had some great meetings in Washington, set up by then Senator Levin and Congresswoman Candace Miller. And I thought we were going to make progress and get a certification for a standard procedure. And the Obama administration came and went, and now we're into the Trump administration and still no movement on that issue.
Well, we did get the sunset moved out.
We did get that.
That was the big thing that we really needed to have. We didn't want it to expire before we got to the
But
sunset.
regular permitting would have been enabled us to market this
Make it-
unique
yep, make it up.
process.
Best practice would have been great.
I think, Commissioner, next year, the rule should be coming out based on the meetings that you all had in Washington. The rule is going to come out about functional stabilization of landfill, which is one of the mission that is an outcome of the bioreactor that you guys talked, we presented about. That's going to happen probably next year, Matt? Yeah. So it is in that direction, so it should happen, which is, when that rule comes out, if and when that rule comes out, St. Clair County is going to be the first one in the country that has gone steps ahead with the functional stabilization. So we will be benchmarking it. Next, on the marketing side, there are some requests for information out for the renewable energy for Air Force and Army bases. And we are pursuing that this year. So we are hoping under Trump administration, one of the agenda is to provide reliable, sustainable energy, and our project fits into it. So we are trying, if that goes through, then this could be marketed. So we are trying for it. Hope God is on our side and those things happen on time.
I'm not going to hold my breath, but I hope you're right.
Me too.
Okay, thank you. Bill, Mr.
Just
Graytop?
a short story, when we were sitting at the table there, and I don't think you were there, somebody else came.
Tian came, yeah.
Came there, and we were sitting around the table with everybody from EPA, and I think it was Craig Duffy was running the meeting that particular day, and he said, I'm leaning in that direction, because Melissa Fazio said, well, which way are you leaning? I'm leaning in that direction. I said, oh, good. When can we expect this? And he goes, and this was in 2011. He says, probably by about 2014. And that sunset didn't get moved until, I think, maybe 15 or 16 before it actually happened. But he said, just understand that Washington does not work fast. And I realized right then and there what he meant. And I now understand. So when you say we've had the Obama administration come and go, the Trump administration's partway through, hang on, Howard, it's working. It's just not there yet.
Maybe before you're done serving on the commission, Howard, if you'd like.
I'm getting gray. Anyway, I know that you put a lot of effort into this, and certainly we have too. And it's been really disappointing because I think we have a truly unique project that certainly deserves national recognition.
It is not done yet. We are tenacious. We will make it happen.
And I don't want to underscore the benefits to us have been, way greater than what we've ever invested in it too, so we still obviously want to continue to try to take it to market, but if that piece of it never came to fruition, it's still been a phenomenal benefit for, St. Clair County. So.
Well, the math is pretty easy. We have a 21-year contract with DTE. We're taking in about $800,000 a year, a little over $16 million over the life of that contract. No, that's pretty good return on investment.
I commend the board for moving forward on this, and I always use it as part of my economic development speech, and I don't mean to belabor this, but when we're talking to companies, I bring up the landfill, and I always say, you're probably asking yourselves why this guy's talking about a landfill, right? And I explain the process. Most governmental agencies would not even remotely tackle something like this, okay? People don't like their landfills, it's, this, that, everything else. So for the county to stick its neck out back in the day to spend the money and to see it work and everything else, that speaks volumes about this governing body, not to be afraid. And that's what I always kind of use that as my, little schlick.
And the other positives, we've extended the life of that landfill from maybe 30 years to about 80 or 90. And hopefully with that, there will be a reduction in the amount of money that we have to set aside for post-closure costs. And if you ever got a chance to look at those, they run into the millions. So we can chalk up a lot of benefits. That's, I think, what's so frustrating. I certainly understand commercial landfills. They want to fill it up as quickly as possible, get the money back in the hands of the investors. We're trying to provide a service to our community. We have a totally different goal than a commercial landfill, and I understand that. But I'd still like to be able to make it available to others.
If you would, you're very familiar with this, but by the efforts of this bioreactor, explain the airspace and the years that we've extended our landfill in comparison to other landfills.
You mean that...
Our airspace went up about another 80 years?
Well, not quite that much. We did two things. We permitted an expansion to the facility, and we started our bioreactor work. What we've seen with the bioreactor work is greatly accelerated settlement because the degradation of the organics in the landfill is greatly sped up. That allows us to more cost-effectively go back in and reclaim that airspace that we've lost. That's time, that's revenue, that's all good stuff.
The reason I'm saying this, because we're on TV and all, is that the airspace is how a landfill actually works. Our landfill shrinks and it increases the airspace. So it could have been a 20-year window at the low end, but now we're probably 60 to 80 years potentially, because our bioreactor takes and has methane gas accelerate the deterioration process. And we're also generating at current rate of about 800,000 a year for the energy that's being generated from this.
And if I may just speak to the functional stability that Morgan addressed, the United States EPA is in the process of changing their post-closure regulations for landfills. Up until this time, it's been, once it's filled and capped and done, there's a 30-year monitoring and post-closure care period. And landfills have to set aside money to cover those costs after they're done operating the facility. Well, there's a lot of landfills in this country that have been sitting there for 30 years now. The original idea was by that time they would have been relatively inert. But there's a lot of landfills that are still producing landfill gas and still producing a lot of leachate. So that costs money, and the EPA is saying, what do we do now? So they're moving to a concept called functional stability, where the burden will be on the landfill to show that their facility has become inert, if you will, before you can stop doing the post-closure care monitoring. To that end, the bioreactor technology helps us out because we're getting there a lot faster through the way we operate the facility than other facilities do. That will, down the road, particularly when functional stability is the rule of the law of the land, that will help us out with those post-closure cost liabilities, definitely.
Going back to what David was, Commissioner Rushing, certainly as there's deterioration over a short period of time, that space can be refilled, and the tonnage of material we put back in there means more revenue in our pocket.
Correct.
So that's a win-win too. So not just the sale of biogas, but the regaining of airspace and also the post-closure costs. So a lot of really positive benefits there that which I just don't understand why EPA the EPA in Washington is dragging its feet.
Craig Duffy does tell us, as said his name, T. Young with CTI still works real closely with Craig. And two things are very close to happening, according to Craig. Number one is there's going to be a technical, a draft, what do we call it? Operating memo, if you will, on functional stability. It's the first step in getting that to law for industry to review. And then secondly, the other one is moving bioreactor operations from a research permit to standard operations. So the functional stability is first, but the standard operations, he's real sure that that's going to happen next year. So we'll see.
Okay, we'll see. Any other questions?
Yeah, we've been up here monopolizing.
Okay, well, thank you, Matt and Morgan. Thank you very much. All in
I'll make a
favor?
motion that we forward this to the full board. I don't believe we had a motion yet.
Correct.
Support.
Do we have a second? It's been moved and second. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion carried. Next is the Herbert Westrick Airport private hangar ground lease.
Make a motion, we send it on to the full board.
Okay, it's been moved and supported. Any questions? Seeing none, Kathy's here. I don't know if she is.
Looks like.
All in
standard-
favor, say aye.
standard stuff.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Railroad runway 4-22 precision approach plan indicator installation.
I move that this be forwarded to the full board.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Thank you. We have the Smiths Creek landfill activity report. I would entertain a motion that that be received and filed.
So moved.
It's been moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Do we have any other environmental public works matters? Seeing none, we'll move on to information only. We have the Park and Rec monthly financial documents. We have a notice of a public hearing from the City of Yale and their Downtown Development Authority. I would entertain a motion to have those received and filed.
So moved.
It's been moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
This time, receive and file packets regarding environmental and public works matter. It's been moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion to adjourn.
Moved.
It's been moved and supported. We are adjourned.
This time, I'd like to call the Ways and Means Committee to order. Could I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner McConnell,
Here.
Commissioner Tamian,
Here.
Commissioner Heidemann,
Here.
Commissioner Bone. Here. Commissioner Dunn,
Here.
Commissioner Graytop,
Here.
Commissioner Rushing.
Here. Okay, can I have a motion to accept the agenda unless we have any additions or deletions?
So moved. To accept the agenda as presented.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. At this time, is there any citizens wishing to address the board? Seeing none, we'll move up to updates. Do we have any updates?
I'm going to make one quick announcement. This just goes to the commissioners. I'm the co-chair of Blue Meets Green. Dave Struck with Metropolitan Planning recently just sent out surveys to all the individual communities for projects to be considered to be presented at the next Blue Meets Green retreat sometime in February. So if you get a chance, if you see any of your township supervisors, just or city managers, whatever, give them the friendly reminder that those things are in the mail. Generally what happens is they'll submit things and then they get it vetted as a local or a regional priority. Then we go through, last time we had 92 people, and then they formulate a list, and it really helps with the, you know, anytime you look for funding for the MEDC and some of our state and federal folks, it's been a great way to vet stuff. And as I always, you know, say, if things are on the list, then the county works, you know, on things that are on the list. So it's been a great mechanism. So encourage your local communities, cities, townships, municipalities, so on and so forth, to get involved.
Okay, do we have any other updates? Any conceptual initiatives? Seeing no old business, we'll move to new business. 7A, proposal for renovation expansion of the medical examiner's office.
I move that this item be sent on to the full board.
Second.
Any discussion?
Carrie,
All in favor?
I'm going to have Carrie, just for Joe Q. Public, explain what's going on with the morgue.
So we have been working on this project for quite some time. Our current space that we have in McLaren is incredibly small, and it's not adequate to meet our needs. So we had looked at expanding at McLaren, and we also had looked at perhaps moving off-site and evaluated the different options. McLaren has generously allowed us more space within the footprint, and part of this expansion actually is outside of the footprint of the existing building. And the next item on here is also a long-term lease with McLaren that will allow us to stay there for 20 years as well without, for $1 a year.
Carrie, and they looked at a lot of alternatives too previous. I don't want to say we had a morgue board, but I mean, I know there were some commissioners that we had put on to look at some of the different alternatives to, you know, whether it was go buy a building, go try to lease some space, so on and so forth. If you've ever been over to the morgue, and you know, it's a little creepy, I gotta admit, but it's a broom closet. It is not a big space at all. And,
We kind of put a moratorium on this thing until we can figure out everything.
no pun intended. But so there was a lot. There was a lot of there was a lot of research that Carrie did that went into this.
Yeah, we did a lot of analysis. You know, a big thing is taking into account those annual operating expenses. If we were to move off-site, you know, different equipment we would have to purchase that we were able to use at the hospital now. And it's a significant savings to the county to stay at McLaren, and it's a great partnership for both parties.
Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair, I'd just like to mention that I am no longer on the board, nor am I an officer of McLaren. I was term limited, and so I no longer have to inform the board of any potential conflict.
You were term limited, or they said you couldn't ride a bike, you can't continue your position?
If you can't ride a bike, you can't be on the board, right?
Right.
That's going to become a midnight talk show.
All right.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. Moving on to 7B, lease agreement with McLaren, Port Huron for the ME's office.
Motion that we send it to the full board.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. Moving on to 7C, contract approval request, Superion LLC.
I'd make the motion to move this to the full board.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
13,000.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. What I'd like to do next is, these are the contracts, 7D through 7M, and these are all for final action. I would like to have a motion.
I would make a motion that we approve items 7D through 7M, which is Resolution 1841 through 1850 for final action.
Support.
Any discussion? Could I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner McConnell?
Yes.
Commissioner Tamian?
Yes.
Commissioner Heidemann?
Yes.
Commissioner Bohm?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Greatop?
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing?
Yes. All right, continue on. 7N, contract approval request for Metro Controls Incorporated Health Department Rooftop Control Project.
I'd
Make a
move we
motion.
move this to the full board.
And support.
Do we have any discussion? There's no discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. Okay, we'll move on to O, contract approval request for the Toledo elevator.
Make a motion, we send this to the full board.
Support.
Any discussion?
This was the one we did a 2-month extension just so we could get these new,
Yes.
and it was worth waiting the 2 months.
And this is contract which, for our elevators, correct? All right, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. Okay, we'll move to 7P, Blue Cross Blue Shield annual renewal.
Move this item be sent on to the full board.
Support.
Any discussion?
I have a couple questions for Carrie. Our renewal, I know last year we had a lot of times, we're self-insured, different than some, and different than a lot of people, actually. We experienced fairly low increases, I guess. Would you like to touch on that?
Yes, last year we did not, or for 2018, we did not have an increase. Our rates actually slightly went down, but basically remained flat. And for next year, we are looking at a 5% increase for our healthcare, which is well below national average or trends.
Sounds like a great deal to me.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. Okay, Q, boards and commission reappointments.
I move that these appointments be sent on to the full board.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. R, prosecuting attorney manning table change.
I'd move these be moved on to the full board.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. Okay, S, Delta dental contract renewal.
I move this contract be sent on to the full board.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. T, contract approval request, St. Clair County resub payroll services.
Make a motion to send on to the full board.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'd just like to say, I think they've done a pretty good job for us. I think it's probably been 10 years plus now, somewhere in...
Yep, about. This contract right here does reflect a reduction in their scope of work. More staff in our HR department is taking on those functions. So this is actually a $23,000 reduction in our existing contract.
That's also extremely positive and unusual news.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed. This time, we have other ways and means matters. Do we have any? Seeing none, information only. Seeing none, do I have a motion to receive and file?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We stand adjourned.